Welcome to another episode of Everything But the Song. I'm your host, Tal Weisman, and with me today is the glorious, impressive, amazing, captivating, and ever smiling Christee Palace.
He's reading off a script, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
She said, don't talk
Thank
about...
you. Thank you very much. Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome. So Christee, you are my second guest
That's very exciting.
of this podcast ever. And it's only due to scheduling issues that you're not the first. But,
That's true. Yes. But
yeah.
I am here nonetheless.
Yes, you are. How are you?
I'm good. I'm hanging in there. How are you?
Good, hanging in there too. Just letting everybody know this is February.
Close.
September.
Yeah, we've
close.
lost track of time now.
Yeah. September 29th, 2020. Amidst the pandemic, still we're not playing shows, not doing anything like that. So this is survival mode for everybody, which is one of the reasons this podcast even came about. This podcast is a sister podcast of my buddy Mike's podcast called All About the Song. And I think I just had some time on my hands, and I've always wanted to talk to the people that I work with or know as musicians who are just cool people in general. And we always talk, and we'll have conversations about stuff. We'll talk about like whatever. It's not necessarily all about music. Like that's just what brought us together, but it's not like
absolutely.
There's more to you than, you know.
Oh, so much more. Can't wait to delve into that.
Okay, well, we will. But I just kind of want to give people a bit of a background about who Christee Palace is. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Kind of, you don't have to go too deep, or you can go as deep as you want. Like,
sure. Yeah, cut me off when you're ready.
And thank you. That was awesome. Sorry.
Thanks so much. I mean, I'm originally from Windsor, Ontario, and most people that know me, I come from a very musical family back home. Like, we're known for music in Windsor, which is really cool. But I've been around it my whole life. Like, my dad got me started playing piano when I was like 3, and I started singing shortly after. Wow. And I was performing when I was like 5. Like, that's the first time I got on a stage, like singing, you know, like Jingle Bells. But I mean, it's really, really cool coming from a family like that. It's just been normal to me. Music is just been a constant, you know, since I was really young. And I have 3 siblings, and I'm the only one that has pursued music. The rest of them are like, you know, rocket scientists and stuff. And
listen, I know everybody in your family, like everybody's with some other impressive, credential.
Yeah.
But does anyone else in your family, like other than your dad, who obviously I know and is super talented and awesome, but other than your dad, does anyone else in your family like play instruments?
They do. So my dad went about, you know, everything the same way with all of us. Like, so I have an older sister, and she actually was the first one to get started into music. So she did the same thing I did. She did, you know, our talent shows, and my dad owns a music conservatory in Windsor, so he would hold talent shows for the students and stuff, and we would always be forced to perform in the beginning. Forced, yes.
Like Jackson Family style?
Forced.
Or,
not quite that intense, but pretty close.
Guys, the conservatory's not doing too well. I need you to hit it out of the park today.
Yeah. I mean, of course, when you're little, it's one of those things where, you know, you have to develop some sort of routine and, you know, figure out their passions and whatnot. And it was just something that was...
You need a nudge as a kid.
Give them a little nudge. And so my sister started out first, piano and singing, same way I did. And my brothers were more so, my one brother, Eric, was more so into sports. And my dad took that. My dad is actually an incredible athlete. He would never tell anybody that, really. But...
well, I was gonna say he looks like he would be athletic. So
yeah, he's very athletic.
What does he do?
Well, when he was younger, he played all kinds of sports. Hockey was his number one thing. He actually had open heart surgery when he was 14, and that's what kind of changed his path. Like, he initially wanted to be a hockey player. That was his thing, and then the surgery changed it. And because he couldn't play sports anymore, he sort of like turn to music because his older brother was in music at the time. And
Right.
so that's what sort of stemmed, the whole music career thing, which is very interesting, I find. But he's very interested in both. Like, he loves sports. That would have been his first pick, and obviously that changed over time. But
yeah, I definitely was going to be a world championship tour surfer, but
so awesome.
That for some reason didn't work out.
Yeah.
I don't know
It's
why.
just, listen, it all happens for a reason, right?
I know.
Whether it's people that change your mind or certain experiences, or it's how it happens.
Well, I mean, listen, I'm very thankful. I'm definitely better at music than I am at surfing. I enjoy both equally as much, but
yeah.
Thank God that I make a living making music, not having to surf.
Well, I mean,
yeah, it could change one day. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. But so your dad obviously came from like he found music at a young age and did that, and then you guys came around. So your brother, you said your sister did piano and singing at a very young age.
Yeah.
And your brother Eric?
Eric. So he played guitar a little bit. He kind of taught himself. My dad showed him a little bit. He plays piano as well, just by ear. No theory or anything like that. And my youngest brother Ryan, he plays piano.
Right.
Which is really cool. But
amazing.
none of them decided to go into it. Yeah.
Right. What do you think was different about you from them?
Oh boy, everything was different about me. You know what? I never did well in school. Like, I wasn't a very academic child. There was subjects that I really liked.
Right.
I didn't learn the same way, though. I knew that from a super young age. When I was my earliest memory of school was probably in grade 2. And I remember being in a classroom and everyone would finish their little, grade 2 assignments. And I would still be doing mine. And I always had, I just knew that I wasn't, I just didn't learn in a classroom setting.
Interesting.
And that was the same all throughout grade school. And
that's so strange to me. That is not what I thought.
No, yeah, I was not because I know academic.
You. No, but I wouldn't say you're an academic person per se. Like, I mean, how do you even decide that? But I know you as somebody who's, okay, you're talented, you do all that stuff. Yeah, that's fucking great. Okay, that's not you. That's just
Thanks.
It's you were born that way kind of thing. But you also work really, really hard, and you are very regimented in what you do.
Mm-hmm.
You don't just, none of this was given to you by luck, let's just say. So
I think it's a little bit of everything. It was my upbringing, but like I said, with the academics, going into school, it just didn't work for me. Like, I wasn't the type of kid that could just sit there and do assignments and listen to someone tell me what to do. And, I was wild, I just wanted to be free and be crazy and be a kid, and I had a really rough time. And it probably wasn't until halfway through high school where I finally had enough confidence to pursue my passions. I think in, grade school that it really affected my confidence, and I became a pretty insecure kid, and I always did music just, kind of in the shadows, and I never really showed anybody. I did it when my dad made me, and I would perform when he made me.
So you wouldn't perform, you didn't have the urge to perform as a younger kid?
I did, but I was too scared. I just had really bad confidence issues, and I think that stemmed from school because I was always in trouble, and I never did my homework, and not because I was, trying to be an asshole, but I just I couldn't focus. I was not interested in doing homework and assignments. It just wasn't what I wanted to do. And I always did music. I've been writing songs since I was probably 5, just songs about nothing, And
I was going to say, what do you write about when you're 5?
Absolutely nothing.
Okay.
The one
I
song I remember.
My cereals this morning.
Very accurate, yes.
Okay.
Something close to that. What I used to do when I was younger, because I loved music. We listened to, classic rock stuff from my dad, but I also loved pop music. And I used to take the melodies of pop songs and write my own words to those melodies. So obviously, when I was younger, I didn't have the capacity yet to be able to construct my own, but that's what I used to do. That's what I was interested in. And I loved performing by myself. Like but I was just too scared to do that in front of people. And I think that's because of school. My confidence was just shot down from school because I was the type that because I wouldn't do my homework, like teachers would think, I was that asshole kid that was just trying to defy them. And like,
right.
That's not what was happening. I I couldn't focus, and I didn't have any teachers that really could get to me until I got to high school. Like I had a few others that inspired me and helped me with my confidence. But in grade school, I was the type that would get called out, like in front of everybody in the classroom and say, okay, like, what's the answer to this? And I didn't know because I didn't do my homework and I didn't understand math and I wasn't paying attention. And then it would make me feel so stupid. And it just was awful. Yeah, I had a really bad, now I'm laughing about it now, but things worked out for the best. Let's put it that way.
Wow. Yeah. I did not know that. I never knew. I mean,
I guess why we're doing this.
Yes.
Therapy sessions with Tal.
Yes. Well, don't charge by the hour, but
yes. Yeah. Send me the bill later.
Yeah. Well, my mom will be proud to see that I'm somewhat of a doctor.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, even though I was supposed to be a lawyer. Or so, I don't know. I don't know what I was supposed to be. Oh. No, she's proud. I'm kidding. My mom loves me, and that's all that matters.
That's right.
Yeah. No. So with the school thing, like, for me, like, I was never, I never really had a hard time in school per se.
Yeah.
Like maybe a little bit through middle school, but like for the most part, it was kind of like, if I tried hard enough, I did okay. Like mid to high 80s and whatever. Mm-hmm. It was like, I could have probably been a better student had I put more effort into it.
Right.
I was lucky.
That's the difference.
Yes. Yeah. No, I was lucky that it was, for the most part, it didn't take too much effort for me to be a little above average, and I'm very happy about that.
Yeah.
But I know, like, for example, for like my younger brother Gil, he was, he had the same thing where it was a struggle for him. Mm-hmm. And when you're a kid, you don't really know why that happens. You just assume somebody's just not trying hard enough. Same thing when I was in school and I'd see other kids in my class not really doing well. I'd be like, what, like, did you not read this? Like,
right.
what's wrong with you? And you don't ever think that people might have some, learning disabilities.
Right.
Right. Same thing happened with my brother. He got, when he started going to like university and stuff, mm-hmm. before he got like tested for his like cognitive skills or whatever. I don't know what you call it, but then they realized they're like, you've got some pretty bad ADD. Like you need, mm-hmm. You could benefit from like Ritalin or things like that. And when he said that, I was like, that makes so much sense, because this dude hated school.
Yeah.
Like did not like it. He worked at it. He worked and tried to be good, but it's just like, and he's a super smart guy. Like mm-hmm. my brother, honestly, anything he tries to do, he just does well. He's one of those guys where you're like, fuck you. Like seriously.
Good at everything.
Yeah. I tell people, like, I had my mom was away for like I think maybe over 10 days for work. She was mm-hmm. like out of the country. So I was in high school, and I brought a bunch of like instruments home, and my buddy brought his drum kit, and we set it up in my living room. And I'll never forget this one morning. I wake up and I see my brother playing this insane drum part by Dream Theater that I've been trying to even like count in my head how that worked, and he just got on a drum kit and played it. How bad did that
piss you off?
You know what? At the time, it didn't piss me off. I was just blown away. I was like, how did you even understand how this works?
Yeah.
I couldn't figure it out. But some people are just like that. But then when he went to school, just wouldn't work. Like it did not, things did not click. I think same thing. He just wasn't really interested in it.
I just don't. And I mean, I'm speaking just, on behalf of my own experience, but from what I remember of school, I wasn't the only one that struggled, and it wasn't that I did poorly, like with my grades. Like I still did well. Yeah. I didn't really show like, that I was terrible until I was probably in high school. Like that's when, I failed math in grade 9 and like that's when things were kind of like, that was the worst, I think, just transitioning into high school. But grade school was fun. Like, you know, I did well. I was always in trouble because I just I couldn't sit there. I just couldn't. And I would try really hard. And I remember thinking at such a young age, just looking around and, you know, all the little kids were just staring at the teacher and listening. And I was like looking around, picking the wall. Like, you know, I just, you know, I couldn't do it. And I look back now, and my sister's actually a grade school teacher now. And funnily enough, all of my relatives and cousins, they're all teachers too. So they're in music, but they're all teachers. Right. Just so interesting to me. Huh. But yeah, I always think about the way that the education system is set up, and I know for me it wasn't the best. I don't really know what the solution would be, but yeah, I mean, it's just a tough thing. I was fine when I was like one-on-one with a teacher, or if, you know, it was like a smaller class and things were a little more, you know, hands-on, and that was different because it was the approach. I think they all teach to like a generic type of student, and I just wasn't like that. I needed someone to, you know, give me something, like show it to me in a different way, and that just didn't happen, right? So
no, well, I mean, it's tough. You're right. Like the way education works in the Western world right now, it's like basically there's 30 kids in a classroom, and there's kind of a one system, and
just did not work for me at all. Wow. But when I got into high school, I had a few experiences in some subjects where I failed, or I was really close to failing, and I had to go to summer school, and it was kind of a wake up call for me. It's like, is this what you want your life to be like? And halfway through high school, I kind of had like a revelation a little bit. I was like, all right, I got to figure this out, and try a little harder and actually study. And because I was looking at my older sister, who was like perfect. She was like this angel child who did so well at everything, and she was so smart and studied. Like, she was the type that wrote out her notes after school. Like, after classes were done, she would come home and like rewrite out all her notes and stuff. Wow. Like, what? I was just not like that. But yeah, I don't know. Halfway through high school, I started. I gained my confidence a little bit from certain teachers that I had. They were a little more creative in the way that they, approached things. And because of that, it sort of, gave me a little push to actually take like arts classes and, do the music theater stuff and do the talent show. Like, when I went to high school, no one even knew that I could really sing, or do any of that.
Because you weren't even like confident enough.
No, I was so scared. Oh my God. And people would never know that now. They have no idea, right? Because of the fact that I'm pursuing this now, and because of the fact that I come from, music. I come from that, and I just it was a hard go for a while.
Listen, that's again. I mean, I remember the first time I watched you play, and I told you, like, it shifted a lot of how I thought about you as a musician, not because I thought any less of you as a musician, but I thought I had a different perception of how you would be, versus then seeing you live and going like, oh, there's a whole other element to this that I didn't even consider. And I'm glad I did. I'm glad I saw it. But like, even, watching you play with Walk Off the Earth, and like seeing some of I didn't see it in person, but I saw some footage, and looking at that person on stage, I would never think that person at some point of her life was like, oh, I don't know about this. Like, it's because it takes a while to build that kind of confidence, and it takes the repetitions to even go on stage and be able to like go from that side to that side while singing, while playing guitar, while coordinating all these things, being focused on the audience, on your music, on like the vibe. There's, I know sometimes it just looks like you just go on stage and you do what you do, but it's not. There's
a lot
so
of
much
stuff
that goes
behind
into
it for sure. Yeah. But I think the performing aspect of it, I was always terrified to do it when I was younger, but when I was on stage, it was natural. Like, and that's the thing. Like, after I would perform, I always felt so awesome when I was finished. But it was like the initial, getting on stage when I was younger that I could not. Like, it was so hard. Like, I really had to overcome that. And the only way that I did it was just, you know, I got to a point where I was like, you know, I was old enough where I went, okay, like, are you going to do this or not? Like, the only way to do it is to do it. You can't just, you know, sit there and watch other people take the opportunities that you should be taking. And that's really what got to me. I just shut it out. And which, and not everybody can do that. So I'm grateful that I was able to do that. And I think that, you know, comes a little bit from my upbringing, like, you know, just being headstrong. And, you know, I thank God for my mom because, oh man, she helped me so much. She helps me a lot with that kind of stuff. Even now, like I talk to her, we're very close, and she just keeps me grounded and
that's awesome.
helps me. And I hear her voice in the back of my head sometimes when I'm really struggling. And I think that helped me a little bit with the confidence thing too. But that's the only way I did it. Like once I was on stage, I was good. And I'm like, man, this feels awesome. And then I'd be scared to do it, but then I would do it again. And then the next time I was a little less scared. And that's, you know, that's sort of how it went.
But do you think that the fear of doing this live, like even through, I mean, I know that for me, like I came to a point in life where I'm not going to say I'm not nervous. There's always like a bit of nervousness, but I'm not afraid of doing this anymore. Like I don't walk into a scenario and go and like the only show I can remember in the last, you know, 7-8 years being really, really nervous was the first and only live Kadima show that I did, because it was a new band and I was in a new situation and I just didn't know how it was going to go. And I think I've lost a certain feeling of certainty that I had with Ascot Royals, my older band.
Right.
So now that it's like, oh, this is a new situation. We've never done this. I've never played with this lineup except for Jimmy. Like I've played with Mike a bunch because we've played in different scenarios, but not like in a rock band. There's only 4 of us on stage. It's like, so I was nervous for that, but I think that feeling of nervousness and fear, it made me respect the show a little bit more. And we put a bit extra work just to, you know, we were all nervous before.
Of course.
And we were like, we should probably do another rehearsal before we do this because we don't really feel that good.
Yeah.
So we did, and that went better. But like, what I'm trying to get is like, there's a feeling of respect towards playing live when you're a little scared of it. Do you think that was a part of it that made you work at it at first when you were still very scared of it?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just a natural thing to want to do well and want people to think highly of you and as, you know, an artist, as a performer. And that's always in the back of your mind, you know? And I think that was the one thing that was probably, you know, the worst for me initially, because it would be so overwhelming. Like I would care so much about what people thought of me and my performance. And I think that's what scared me the most, you know, the judgment of other people, or not the fear of not being good enough, you know?
Right.
And I still have that. I struggle with that still, even today, but it's at a point now where I've been doing this for so long that like I said, I block it out. And once I'm up there, it's different. I feel like I feel like it's my world, you know, like I'm up there and I'm just doing my thing and I'm not even thinking about anything and I don't care what people think and I'm just having a blast. And that's, I mean, it took me a while to get to that point, but it's like that now anytime I perform, which is awesome.
Well, you've also, like, you know, you've played a fair share of shows at this point. So you know, when you go on stage, it's like, all right, you've done this before, and any musician starting out, you have to do it also in front of people who either don't care about it or not even listening to you. You might be playing to like 10 people and you're like, I have to put as much energy into this as I would if this was 10,000 people.
For sure. But what people don't know about me, most people, is that I sang in a wedding band for about 8 years of my life.
I remember that.
And I started in that band around, so I think I was 18 at the time. And I was still nervous back then. Like I was 18, I was like just coming out of high school, and, you know, I had performed and I was doing things and people knew that I was, you know, I was a singer and I wanted to pursue this, but it wasn't until that point where I really like polished my live performance, because even though I was in a wedding band and, you were playing cover songs and stuff, you play in all different kinds of settings, right? So, I mean, we did weddings, banquets, but I played in Windsor and stateside.
Wow.
And it was crazy. You would have, some crowds, there would be like 15 people. Sometimes we would play in these little bars and there'd be 3 people, and you have to like, you got to find a way to keep, engaging people. And so that helped me so much. Without that, I'm not sure that I would be the performer that I am now. I'm not sure that I would be as comfortable. Right. Because you had no choice but to figure it out when you're up there, Well,
so I remember, I'm pretty sure it's Imagine Dragons, that they're from Vegas, and I think they would play like 4 or 5 nights a week. They would play casinos, and they would play like 3-4 hour sets. Like, somebody fact check me on the numbers and the days, but I'm almost
get back to us and let us know.
I'm almost certain that it's Imagine Dragons, and that's what they did. And they would. This is before they exploded and became this huge rock band and whatever. But like, they were literally doing that almost every night of the week, playing long sets, having to grind it out, and then they became this huge rock band. So when the door opened and they had a song blow up and they were going on tour and doing all these things, it's like, yeah, man,
it was easy.
We know how to do this.
Yeah.
We've been training
doing it forever.
Yeah, exactly. So I think there's, when you think about becoming a musician and a performing musician, not everyone, to say the least, thinks, well, a wedding band is going to be a stepping stone or a training ground, but
oh my God,
but it is.
Yeah. It was huge for me, because I mean, all kinds of settings we were in front of all kinds of people. And
what's the weirdest?
For sure. But the thing is, you're up there and you're being paid to entertain people. So it's like, if they're not liking what you're doing, you figure something else out and you find a way to engage them. And I think that, the whole wedding band thing, that's what helped me to learn how to engage an audience. Like, because you're paid to throw a party, like it's you're the entertainment. So you gotta help them out.
And you can't show up not wanting to party, because that's your job.
You're constant party mode. Like, but we would, I would do stuff, and I always had to step out of my comfort zone with that, because there would be situations I'd have to deal with where I wasn't really equipped to do that. Like, I was still pretty young, and I would have, the bride coming up to me saying, "We don't like this song, like, change the song," or like, asking me to do stuff on stage, or "It's somebody's birthday, can you so you learn how to, how to talk to people and how to, have fun with them. But you don't learn that, I don't think, until you're sort of thrown in the fire. You're not necessarily ready for it. You just have to do it, and you figure it out. And that's what happened. So.
Okay, so what's the most ridiculous thing anybody asks you to do when you're in a wedding band?
Hold on, let me think. Oh man, I can't even. There's so many things. It's the brides, man. I'm telling you.
The brides.
They're just. Some of them are great, but some, in the middle of songs too. Like, I'd be in the middle of singing. Like, I was singing. I was the lead vocalist at the time, and I was singing in the middle of singing a song, and the bride would come up to me and be like, "Excuse me," like, as I'm singing, and I'm like, "Can you someone else? I'm a little busy right now entertaining your party."
And sing the lyrics at the same time.
Yeah. I don't know what the most ridiculous thing is. I just think, just in the middle of everything, asking me to do something, or if they didn't like what we were doing, ask us to play a song that we didn't know and then get mad about it. Like, that happened all the time. And then you have to like, find a way to keep her happy because it's her wedding, right? But we would send the song list ahead of time so people would know what this type of stuff that we do is on our website, everything. But
lady, this isn't Spotify,
Yeah, no, but they don't. That's the trouble. I think people think musicians are just they're magicians.
Right.
They think, okay, you can just do you can do anything. If I ask you to play this song, you should be able to play this song. And it's like, it's not how it works. Like, we had to rehearse all of these songs specifically for this evening, and we can't just play whatever you want. But so we'd have to say, okay, well, we'll play like, a recording of the song during our breaks. Like, that's what we do. But Oh my God, I dealt with so much stuff. I can't even explain. But it's, in the long run, it helped so much. Like, it made me the performer that I am. You figure out how to deal with people and how to keep them happy, and that's
Well, also I remember because when we first met and started working together, I remember you were still doing. You were still living in Windsor, and you were still doing the wedding band, and I remember just thinking like you saying that, like, how much taxing it is on your voice too when you have to do like multiple weddings in a week and like teaching or doing anything like it's
because I was still teaching, and I would have my own like solo, like I would play acoustic covers on Thursday nights or something as Christee myself, and then the weekends sometimes we would have like Friday, Saturday, Sunday gigs, and I was the only singer. And later on in the years, we got another vocalist that was singing with us, so it took some of the edge off. But you're still singing harmonies, like it, and just in general, being up there entertaining for 4 hours in a row that's hard, right? Yeah. But again, like I'm so happy I did it, because even my stamina now as a vocalist is
way higher.
Oh yeah, I could. There's no way I would get that just from practicing. It's a whole different story when you're up there in front of people. Shouting and yelling and chanting, and then you're singing, and then you're talking, and then
I was gonna say the before and after too. It's some people don't, most people probably aren't aware, but when you play a show or a wedding or a function, whatever, you have to show up and you have to talk to people and you have to figure out the logistics and where to go, and no, people
more
aren't
than just singing.
Yeah, and like people aren't like right next to you, so you have to yell, and these are very like basic things we do every day.
Yeah.
But when you're a singer, it's like a gas tank, and the more you use your voice that day, that gas tank starts emptying up. Mm-hmm. So like, when we would go on tour back with the Ascot Royals, I would, I was just a backing vocalist, so it didn't really matter that much, but I still had to watch my voice. But with Jimmy, our lead singer, I would always say like, dude, as soon as we're done figuring out what we have to do in the venue, once the show is done, if you can, get out, go to sleep, but sleep as much as you can and rest, let your voice rest. And we played 30 something shows that tour, and
talking is the worst.
Yeah,
I think so. Like, even, it's one thing to get on stage and sing and talk in between, but it's afterwards when everyone wants to come up to you and talk, and then you have to like.
And there's loud music in the background.
Oh, people are drunk. So difficult. Yeah, and you sometimes you're sick or your voice isn't 100%, and you still have to find a way to deliver, and that's. I always, they're called Fisherman's Friend. They're like the cough drops.
Oh, yeah.
I bring them on stage every time with me. They're the only, you have to get the original kind though. So everyone take notes.
Sorry. So the fisherman kind, like the Fisherman's Friend. Not the
flavored kinds. It has to be they have different flavors, right? But the one that I have, it's just like the menthol taste. So it tastes awful, but it's the only type that actually works for me.
But it's like, it looks like candy, basically.
Not the ones I have.
Not the ones
the ones I have are brown, so not the candy you like.
No.
No, but they saved me because, funnily enough, my nono, my grandpa, was the one that introduced those to me when I was really young. Anytime I had a sore throat, he'd give me one, and so I started buying them when I would be singing, like 4 nights in a row sometimes, and if I was sick on a weekend, I was like, I'll be screwed if I don't have them. So sometimes I would be like, if I had a sore throat or something and I had to sing, I would like pop one in my mouth and I just leave it there as I was singing, and it would get me through the song at least, because it was soothing, and they're the only things that work, and I swear by them. I've been using them for like 8 years.
Huh.
Only if I'm like dying, but
you heard it here first, folks. Christee Palace, and
maybe I'll get endorsed by Fisherman's Friend now. Maybe.
You probably own stock by now, by the sounds of it.
Endless amount. I always have them, just in case there's ever an issue, or like my voice is like feeling super hoarse on stage, and I have them, and I can just pop it in, and that's it. So
yeah, I've always seen Jimmy use them, and like they're always out. I may have been a little suspicious, but I'll give it another shot. I mean, for us, it's always been just about like trying to keep healthy and rested. And
oh yeah, and the other thing that I've done my entire life, like my family, I actually was an athlete for a while, like in grade school and high school, I played sports.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, so. I played basketball, volleyball, and I did cross country, and like I did all that stuff. But my family in general, they're all super fit. Like everybody exercises regularly. My brother is like a beast, and he was like training hockey players.
I've seen the family photos. Not an ounce of unwanted fat in that photo. So
yeah, so everyone is pretty fit, and that's been a part of my life forever as well. So as much as music has, so is like health and fitness, and that's one thing that I swear by as a singer and a performer. Like I don't know what I would do if I didn't keep fit and try to stay as healthy as possible and work out regularly. Like it does so much, not even just for your body and helping you to perform all those long hours, but to like even your mental health. And I need that for myself because I have like terrible anxiety, and I went through some shit when I was younger, but yeah, it helps. It helps so much.
Yeah. So, what do you do for workouts nowadays with,
I do home workouts. That's all I could do. Yeah. I'll tell you the story. So when we were all in quarantine, when it first happened, the gym in my building closed. Yep. So I was like, no, but I had done home workouts before. So I was like, okay, whatever. But I actually used the stairwells in my building. So I would like do sprints up and down the stairwells, and I would use them for my workouts. And then someone told on me. And then I got and then we got like this email sent out to everybody in our building, all the residents, and someone, told on me. So it said, we've been getting complaints that some people are exercising in the stairwells. So they banned me from using the stairwells. So I couldn't even do that.
But why? Like because of the noise? Like because of like running
I have
up and
no
down?
idea, because like there's like 12 flights of stairs, 11 flights of stairs. And it's not like I stayed in one concentrated area. Like I ran up and down. Like so it would have been like 3 seconds that you would hear me, but someone told on me. And then they banned me from using it. And at this point, it was still kind of like cool outside. Like it wasn't quite summer yet. I think it was still, must have been like beginning of April. And it was still cold outside. Yep. And I like running, but I can't run in cold. Like I hate being cold, and just breathing in cold. I can't do it.
Yeah, that's when I first moved to Canada, I tried, because back in Israel I used to jog. And then I came here, tried jogging, and almost died. I was like... Well, no, when I was living in Vancouver, I jogged. It was in like late October, and we were jogging, like my singer back then and we were jogging every day. And then we kept jogging through like rain, and the weather got colder. And finally the thing that broke me was I never get sick, like ever. Mm-hmm. If I get sick, it's for like less than 24 hours. It's a bit of I'm a little sniffly, might have a headache, serious. And then I snap out of it and life's good. I got so sick. I woke up in the morning. I had such a bad fever. I was hallucinating.
Oh my God.
It was really, really bad.
That'll teach you.
Yeah. And like
Don't
to
run
the
in
point.
Freezing.
Yeah. It's like my first, week in Canada. Like, welcome to Canada.
Yeah. Welcome to Canada.
Yeah, exactly. And my singer she's never seen me that sick. So she's like, we got to get you to a hospital. So like they called a taxi, and I'm like, I kind of wobbled into it, and we got to the hospital, and this doctor like just kind of,
welcome to Canada.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like checking me, and he's like, oh, you've got the swine flu. I was like, kidding me?
What?
Yeah, he's like, you got the swine flu, man. I was like, what? Like, yeah. I mean,
okay, that's a different story.
Yeah,
Holy
moly.
So
so there's a thing called Tamiflu, I guess. Like there's like a that was the name of the actual like cure, whatever, vaccine. I don't know. No, it was some sort of a medicine that I had to take. So I took it, and it went away, but I couldn't sing properly for like a good month. Like my voice was
that's
gone.
enough to fuck you up for a while.
Yep. So I really never jogged outside for a good amount of time. I was scared of doing anything outside for a while in Canada.
Now I'm certainly not going to.
No, don't.
Thanks,
I mean, no, but that's the thing. I would see people jogging in the middle of winter in Toronto. And I was like, what the hell? How are you doing it? And obviously dawned upon me that, these people have been here for a while. So it's different.
Their immune systems are different too, right? They're used to that whole thing. And
exactly. And now that I've been here for 10 years, different story. I can do a lot more outside.
Yeah,
and
of course.
But
yeah, you're freaking surfing in the winter. Freezing. Like, are you crazy? I saw that. I'm like, what the hell? How are you doing this?
Well, wetsuit technology has come a long way. But it's still like, your face is still kind of exposed. And but like I said, I think over the years I started dealing better with the weather and everything, so it got better. But anyways, I'm not jogging outside in the winter, not doing that. Trying to keep my workouts indoors as well.
Yeah.
Is your gym open now, or is it?
It is open now. I actually haven't gone back to it yet.
So you're still working out at home?
Yeah. So I have a set of, dumbbells, and I have, resistance bands. Like, I have enough that I need to, and I'll go for, runs every once in a while too. But no, I'm a little scared to go back. I don't want to go back yet.
Okay. Fair enough.
I don't. Yeah, in my building, you have to wear your mask the entire time.
Oh, okay.
So I can't see that working for me. Like, I need to breathe. And I like the workouts that I do are pretty, they're pretty difficult. Like, I do a lot of, well, not a lot. Right now I don't, not a lot, but I used to do a lot of like heavy weightlifting and a lot of cardio stuff, like stuff that requires you to breathe properly.
Yeah. So you can't do that with a mask.
No, and there's no way that I would die. So I don't know.
Would you ever consider sharing your workouts with people? Like, or is that something
sharing?
Like just telling people, like, hey, here's what I do to stay in shape.
Yeah. Well, so I actually, for a while, I had a membership with Beachbody. I was doing that for a while because they're all like specialized in like the home workouts and stuff. And I find that to be the most effective, especially if your schedule is kind of all over the place.
Right.
And they have workouts that you can do throughout the week that are only a half hour at a time, and I find those to be the most effective. But now, like, I've been working out for so long that even without that, I kind of create my own workouts. And throughout the week, like, I have, days that I work out certain body parts. And then, throughout the week, I'll make sure I mix in cardio and all that stuff. And when the weather was nice, I was doing, runs regularly. And but it's not just about that. It's like, it's eating properly too. And that's a struggle when you have a really packed schedule and you're like, jumping all over the place. It's hard to do that. But when you get into that routine, like I do meal prepping usually. Like, some weeks are busier than others and I can't even do it. So, I make do with what I have. But when I'm able to, I do meal prep every Sunday. So, like, I go grocery shopping and then I make my meals for the entire week.
And then it's ready to go.
It's ready to go. So I package them up and put it in the fridge, and that way I can just take it and go. But I have to do that because, like, otherwise it takes up so much of my day. And because, I teach singing and voice lessons as well. Yeah. Because that's such a big chunk of my day. If I don't do that, I spend, 2 hours cooking, and it's like, so what the hell? What a big waste of time, right? So I know.
Listen, I don't do meal prep because I like cooking, but I also like to take that time off every day just to give myself a break.
Of course,
from like, if I'm too deep into like, I'm producing a track and I'm like 4 hours into it and I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. I need a break. So that's usually when I go and like make lunch. Yeah. And then it just gets me thinking about something, like anything other than music. Sure. And then
listen, and I love cooking too. Don't get me wrong. I love it. If I could do that every single day, I would. I love it.
Yeah. You just don't have the time. It's
just no time. So for me, that's what works. But I find that to be better because I think throughout the week too, if you're like me and you get like tired after your day and you don't feel like cooking, then you order food. And that is where the trouble is because
good old Uber Eats.
You can't even, curse Uber Eats. It's so easy, but that's the trouble. I feel like people fall into that trap because that is so easy to do, but it's financially the worst thing you can do. And it's just not good for your body either.
Yeah,
you know?
it's bad for you in any possible way. It's good that it's there because sometimes you're just like,
Hands down.
you're like,
If you
man,
need it, sure.
I just want some Indian right now. I don't care about anything.
I don't want to do anything. Yeah. No, I get it. I totally
I'll
get
pay
it.
for it tomorrow with more, 20 more minutes working out and whatever. But like, I just need it.
But that's happened
you
to
can't
me
rely on
before.
it.
I've fallen into that where I'm just like, oh, it's so easy. Like you just order it and you don't have to do anything. You sit your ass on the couch and don't move, and it's great.
You want to tell me there's a button on my phone that brings me food? Essentially,
it's honestly, yeah, and I hate it though for that reason, because then it's like you do it once and then you're like, oh, that was so easy, and then you do it again and it's like, oh. So I just find, on Sundays, I don't have anything on Sundays, so I go grocery shopping, meal prep, so it's there, and then that way if I'm starving, I'm exhausted, I just go in the fridge and it's in there. So
between working out, working, meal prep, all that stuff, where do you find time? Like you also like you write a lot.
Yeah.
Like you write a lot of music.
Well, I will say this. I do a great deal of writing on transit, which, obviously everything changes when you move here. Like I came from, suburbia in Windsor, and now you're in a big city and everything's go, 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 and you got to go on transit, and you spend, almost 2 hours on transit, getting to work. And then when you're at work, you have no time to write. So it's like, you have to find the time to write. And because you're on transit and it's not like you can just scroll through your phone. There's no internet connection. So I just sit there and I just write. I write as much as I can on there. And that way I have stuff to come back to too. And I do have free time. So
do you like sit down and like literally like write lyrics while you're on a, I'm assuming you're not sitting there and like humming melodies.
Actually, I do.
You do?
Yeah, and people think I'm nuts, but I don't care.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I
don't care.
I'm
it's
too
embarrassing.
self-conscious.
I was initially, but I got to the point where there was a few times where I wrote something and I had an idea for a melody and I was like, oh, this is awesome. And I didn't do it. And then I forgot it.
It goes away.
And not worth it to me. I would rather just someone would be sitting next to me, not now because things are spaced out a little more on transit, but initially I would just be humming and people look at me. I'm sorry, I got to get this down, all right? So, I no shame now because I'm like, if I forget this, I'm going to feel like crap later. I know that I'm going to do that. So, I just, anytime that I can, I just write. But I also, depending on the day, like I will usually wake up at 7 a.m. Like normally, that's usually when I wake up, sometimes earlier. And that's where I find the time to write. So I always start off like, I'll wake up and then have a coffee. And then I do like a little like free writing exercise. So it's not even so much writing lyrics. It's even just poetry or just almost like a journal entry. Like it just depends how I'm feeling that morning.
Ideas out of your head onto paper.
Fresh right away as soon as I get up. And I've gotten some really awesome ideas just from that because you're fresh and you just woke up and maybe you had a dream about something or maybe, there's so many things that contribute to it. But I always do free writing like that. And then I read for like about half an hour to 45 minutes, depending on what I have to do that day. And then I do a workout. So that's like, those are staples in my morning, and I find that it's...
Free write, read,
workout. Every morning I do that.
Heard it here, folks.
Listen, that doesn't work for everybody. That's just what works for me. As, I find that if I don't like set an alarm and get up, because I don't really have to be up in the morning. Like I can sleep in. Yeah. But if I don't do that, then I wake up at, 9. Now I can't even really sleep in anymore. My body wakes up. But if I sleep until like 9 or 10, then I feel like I wasted the whole morning. And then, you like groggy and then, you eat something and then by the time everything's done, you have an hour before you got to leave to work. And
and you really
wasted the whole day. So I have to set a schedule for myself. Otherwise, you lose time,
I am just the same way. I like to wake up early. I wasn't always like this, but now I am. I wake up early and I get as much as I can get done in the space of time that I have before I put my head back on the pillow. Yeah. And I'm starting to find more and more musicians who are like-minded. So I'm starting to think like, this whole like deadbeat musician thing who is like just artsy and like, yeah, man, I just kind of go with the flow, whatever kind of thing. Like little by little, I'm starting to feel like it's a bit of a thing of the past because it's so tough out there. It's so competitive. It's so
there's no room for.
No, we all have to bring our A game.
Mm-hmm. I find that as well. And one other thing, and again, this is just for me. I know I have plenty of friends and other musicians that, you know, experiment with drugs and alcohol and they do all that stuff. And that's totally fine. Listen, I have no judgment, but for me, I can't. Like I'm a completely clean person. Like I've never done drugs. I don't smoke. Like I can't because and I've had no desire to because I sang. Like I'm so afraid of what it's going to do to my voice that I've never done it. Alcohol's different. Like once in a while, obviously, like I have a drink and whatever. That's fine. Yeah, of course. But you know, on a regular basis, I know tons of people that do it and they function great and they're, you know, they can do that. But for me, I can't because it just doesn't serve me as a person and for what I do. And because I struggle with things like anxiety and I have mental health issues that I have to, you know, take care of. And with that stuff, it's worse. So I just.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not, a lot of people don't intuitively think that having a clear mind is the way to go when you're dealing with mental issues. It's more like
opposite, right?
Yeah, it's like,
I just want to get away from that. And well, I
absolutely. Think, but like what you said before with like, you know, working out, I mean, man, it helps so much. I have a good friend that I do a lot of writing with, and he's like, we had to book this one session and he wanted to book it earlier. I was like, I could do that, but then I have to skip the gym. And he's like, no, let's do it later. I was like, are you sure? He's like, yeah, you're way better after you go to the gym. I'm like, okay. Noted. Man. I think I'll take that as a compliment.
No, it is though. You know, I find when you take care of yourself and you work out, like your whole headspace is just totally different. It's just totally different. I know that happens for me anyways. Like if I miss a workout, you know, and I wake up late and I just feel like shit the whole day and and I'm not productive and it's just, you know, or if I'm feeling like mentally really shitty that day and I'm just, you know, because there's tough days, man, where you're, especially now, where you have to I have to keep myself busy and like set goals for myself and, you know, stay with a, you know, a pretty consistent schedule in order for myself to feel productive. Like I'm getting somewhere and I'm doing things. And if I don't, it's awful. It's awful for me. So I have to do it.
Well, I mean, knowing you and knowing, you know, seeing how you're everybody's dealing with, you know, like I said, it's September 29th, 2020. So we're still, you know, in the middle of this pandemic thing. Yay. Nobody knows when it's going to end. But, you know, I'm taking mental note of how everybody's dealing with it. I have it pretty easy and I'm super lucky because I work from home.
Yeah.
And most of what I want to do isn't limited other than playing shows, which I miss like a motherfucker. But if that's my only problem in life, then good for me, man. I'm lucky. But yeah, like I just been taking mental note of, you know, friends, colleagues, other musicians and seeing like how everybody's dealing with it. You seem to be dealing with it fine. I know you have your own, like,
of course.
your own problems with it, but it's, you know, all things considered, it's, you know, I think
doing pretty okay.
You're doing pretty okay. And I was going to say, like,
for now.
You know, maintaining a routine, being physically active, keeping yourself busy is what's going to get us through this.
Absolutely.
I could keep talking to you for hours, Chrissy, but we don't have hours. This is where we have to wrap it up. Is there anything specific you want to promote? Is there anything, where can people find you?
Yeah. Well, my website, everything's attached to my website, ChristeePalace.com. People want to check that out. But on all socials.
Christee with double E.
Christee with double E. CHRISTEE Palace. Yes. And all my socials are at Christee Palace as well. So
beautiful.
Come and find me.
Yes. Awesome. Well, Christee, we always talk.
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure. We have mics and cameras, so whatever. Yeah. Thanks for doing this. And I'll probably have you back here for, I don't know, when there's like not a pandemic or there's other stuff we want to talk about.
That'd be great.
we only like scratched the surface of who Christee is.
Yeah, that's
aside
true.
from this.
There's so much more.
Oh, I know. So I don't know if you guys want to hear all of it, but we'll see.
Find out, I guess.
All right. Well, thanks again, Christee.
Thanks, Tom.
Much love. And thank you for listening. If you're on that camera or on that camera, I don't know where you are, but find Christee, find me. I'll put all the links and all that stuff in the description and whatnot. Cheers. See you in the next one.